Hello, this is Swami Pranava. In this video, I'm reviewing the bidirectional translation technique of Luca Lampariello, and I'll leave a link in the description box so you can see his videos. And someone had a concern about steps 5 and 6. So there are 6 steps. The first one is where you read and listen to the text in English and you have a translation in Vietnamese and you compare the two, you make notes on the English about what the words mean by looking at the Vietnamese text. Then you do phonetic analysis in step 2 where you listen to the sound of certain phrases and you can mark where those phrases begin and end, where the speaker pauses. In step 3, you do what Luca calls a smart review, which means you could listen to it in English while you read it in Vietnamese. In step 4, you would translate it from English to Vietnamese, but you write it in your own words. So just whatever you can understand, you write in Vietnamese. Then step 5 comes. This is more challenging. You're going to read it, what you wrote in Vietnamese, and then you're going to make an attempt to speak it in English, okay? So I think in step 5, it's good to refer to the text in English so that you can remind yourself of vocabulary and some of the word order, that kind of thing. So you can simply read it in Vietnamese, and that kind of gives you a course to go through, right, of the story, the article. And then you're going to try to speak each of those sentences in English. And of course, many words you will have forgotten by then. You won't know how to say certain things. So you refer back to the English text, and that will remind you. And then you practice speaking these sentences at least once. But you're keeping in mind that you're preparing for the final step. Step number 6 is where you're going to read your Vietnamese version of the story that you wrote, but you're going to write it now in English. Okay, so that will take memory of the vocabulary and other parts of the language. So in step 5, you will think about, when you're speaking these sentences in English, what words that you would need to remember to give at least a simple explanation in English. And then when you do step 6, you simply write what you can in English to explain each sentence, to translate each sentence. So that's the bidirectional translation, going back to English now. But you should not be concerned that you can do it 100%. Okay, that's not the goal here. If you can do it 50%, that's fine. If you do it more than 70%, it's too easy, or you didn't wait long enough before you did the final translation. Okay, we don't want to get 100%. Because forgetting is important. I made a video about this. Forgetting is important. And the reason why you want to not remember everything is that you want to be able to make the effort to remember. When you make the effort to remember, you're doing some exercise for your mind. And this is helping you to learn the language. Okay, so don't worry about forgetting. And when you write your sentences, let's say you have 10 sentences, if you could write 5 sentences correct, that's enough. If you write more than 7 correct, that's too much. You need to challenge yourself more, okay? And so how do you know if a sentence is correct? Luca says, very simple, if you get 3 out of 4 words, then you consider it correct, okay? So if it's a sentence with 8 words and you wrote 6 of the words correct, then you say, okay, that sentence is correct, right? But if you only wrote 4 words correct out of 8, then you'd say, okay, that sentence is not correct. Okay, so I hope this clarifies the steps 5 and 6. Thank you. Bye-bye.